The Fed should raise the Fed rate by 100 basis points on Wednesday and get this over with. I don't understand why Jerome Powell just doesn't raise the rate and get it over with. I think this would calm the markets and allow for things to break that need breaking, such as housing prices. I really feel the slow roll to the build is worse than just getting it over with. 2/4 of the raising of the rates should be enough and would give a nice swing to recovery in Q2 2024. That's just my take. If we keep letting the economy go, then the bubble is only going to get worse and worse. In my opinion, the rate is not enough to truly adjust house or car vehicle sales. Especially not vehicle sales in any impactful way. Everything else is in line except for housing, and there is no way you can let that continue any further. Something has to give. Found the guy sitting 100 cash. Calm the markets. Yeah, for sure. Couple of 25 bits per second hikes spread out lately. Lagging indicators as economy for sure slows. Let's airstrike the economy. Because Powell actually doesn't work for traders. He wants a better economy, not necessarily a temporary down market. When you're a hammer, all you ever see are nails. Just to give you the only serious answer you will get, rate hikes have a lagging effect. Meaning even if they raise it 100 points, they won't have an immediate effect until after about a year. Then you won't get only the accumulated effect of the hikes, but then a fucking 100 points. Multiplied by all what came before. The reason they have to pace it is because if they don't, you would have a shock in the future. That wouldn't calm the market at all. Calming the market would be either leaving the rate unchanged or raising it 25 basis points. Jacking the federal funds rate up a full 100 basis points is like smacking a nest full of angry hornets with a flaming baseball bat. Stupid. And certainly not going to end well for the provocateur. Such a drastic hike would paint a picture the market doesn't want to see. Likely sparking a major sell-off in assets across the board. Because a lot of people will lose their job if they overshoot. Shock and awe worked in Iraq, let's try it at home up. That would panic markets. And crash a few more banks. Raising rates very suddenly gives no one time to prepare. How is that helpful? The tremendous conviction you speak with while have such little knowledge is truly baffling. Did you miss the whole soft landing narrative the Fed is trying to balance? Or the recent tightening in financial conditions following the insane 1030 rates rally? Equivalent to 4 rate hikes worth of tightening according to FCI. One of the more regarded posts I've read, and that's saying something. Impressive work op. When you get a cut in your finger, do you put a band-aid over it or do you just cut off the arm? If your goal is to cause a depression, that would do it. Do you understand how fucked up that would make everything? The economy and market would absolutely tank. Break that shit, Jerome. Fed is done 100. Things are straight crumbling under the surface. They see it. It's over, but the long end has more pain. But it's over. The Fed is done. They just can't say it yet. BC, if they say it, then it'll undo everything they done. The Compound News had an excellent analogy for this. In Avengers Endgame, Doctor Strange tells Iron Man they had analyzed over 14 million scenarios and there was only one where they win. Iron Man then asks later on during the battle if they chose the one where they win. To which Doctor Strange says, if I told you which one we chose, then we wouldn't win. I say just go 500 BP. Leave no room for error. Shock and awe. What could go wrong? Took us almost 2 decades to get here. You think this is going to be fixed overnight? Let's not nuke the economy. I don't think the rates are high enough to reach 2 inflation, but there's no chance he surprises markets even with a 1/4 point this week. Best he can do is signal clearly that he's hiking in December. It's not really problem with pricing, the problem is with supply. Man, there is no supply. First of all, Jerome Powell himself doesn't set the rates. The FOMC does. Someone who clearly doesn't know how interest rates work is giving advice on how things should be done. Nice. I think we're at the pause. Unless the yield on the 2-year goes up significantly, I expect them to hold here as long as they can. That would be an unnecessary risk to try to lower inflation from 3.5 to 2%. I agree. And I would much rather have been earning 5.5 in my HYSA and even higher in the money market funds this whole year rather than the Fed trying to piecemeal. I digress. Even with inflation ticking back up here lately, I highly doubt the Fed raises rates this week. However, all bets are off for the December meeting. Found the random Redditor who's an expert in macroeconomics. The magnitude and scope of the Fed's responsibility is clearly so far behind your current understanding. Be thankful you are not them. No. Interest rate hikes won't fix inflation, you need to cut government spending printing. Calm the markets, you mean calm the government spending. This is what I've been saying for the past 2 years. It's better to just rip the band-aid off. It'll suck for several years. But we'll be better for it in the long run. 100 basis points is for cowards. Powell should take a page out of Russia's playbook and go with an immediate 200 basis points hike. Don't stop until we're at 15 interest rates. That'll show M. Volcker style get this over with is much higher than 7. That's lower than where Volcker started. Fasten your seatbelt if you expect a big jump to be the remedy. It'll cause disruptions and shortages. They're not gonna raise. Because they know roughly 5.5 is the limit. And they can't keep it there for any length of time. Like a single quarter. Tops. Higher for longer is the new inflation is transitory. The Fed is full of fucking liars. All the banks are completely insolvent right now. If BOA had to mark their paper to market right now, they'd post a $600 billion loss. All the banks are in the same position. The MBS swap window will have to be held open until rates come back down to 1 or there will be massive systemic failures. I agree. The current rates are still too low to encourage the affluent to save instead of spending. The continued spending is keeping inflation up and the prices of housing too high. The phrase excessive exuberance was coined in December 1996 by then Fed Chairman Alan Greenspan. The market rallied over 100 from there through March 2000 before ultimately crashing 80. I do think a 25 BP point hike is warranted at this point. If the government would stop overspending, inflation would plummet. 100 basis isn't necessary and would shock the already fragile market and the economy. 25 basis should be the last one. 10 years should be at 6.57 minimum. Rip the fucking band-aid off. What you need is for the government to cut spending. Otherwise, no matter how much you raise the rates, inflation will continue to be a problem. Lol, people have been saying this for 12 months now. The Fed finally go mask off. Thinking face bold. It may just be crazy enough to be crazy. Stagflation, my friend. That's where we are going. Economic recession with high interest rates. Maximum pain. That's why he's hesitant to raise rates. He knows the economy is going to be deflationary soon. But he might have to raise anyway as people rack up their credit cards to continue spending before the whole ship hits the iceberg.